Welcome. Let's take our hands, place them on the heart, and just have a moment to connect. Connecting with yourself, connecting with the energies all around you, energies that are here to support you. And just ask that grace pours through you, settling you into this session, settling you into this process, enabling you to receive whatever it is that you wish to receive today in a way that's right for you. And that you can allow the energies to come to you in exactly the way that's right for you. You can let them flow naturally and easily, without needing to control anything, without any fixed agenda. Just a simple acceptance of the moment for what it is, and an invitation for grace to flow through you and on out into your life. It's all about acceptance, really, Acceptance is very, very important. If we can accept everything as it is, then we find peace in that place. But often that's very difficult particularly when there are health issues or life struggles, difficulties and challenges coming at us. Or within us, and we don't want it to be that way. We want it to be different, and we want it changed, and we want it changed now. And so we can get angry about that, and that's challenging for the body. And when we look at healing, working with healing energies, being able to get into the flow, bring this soft, gentle energy in, then part of that is being able to accept things as they are, being able to accept what is. It's the first step, really. And often what people tend to do is they look at their health issues, for example, as if there's something wrong with them that they need to fix. Now, the body doesn't respond very well to that at all. Not at all. In fact, the more we look at our body as a problem that needs fixing, and the more we go into it with this energy of you're broken, you need fixing, I resent your malfunction, I resent this suffering, I resent that you aren't doing what I need you to do, or being healthy in the way that I want you to be or I expect you to be. If we have this kind of dialogue and this kind of relationship with our body, then we can very easily stay very stuck. And so, and it's interesting as well, because actually not everything shifts anyway, Some of the things that we're here to face, some of our challenges, they're part of our fate, and some perhaps even our destiny, I don't know. But what I do know is that unless we find a place of acceptance in order to start the journey of transformation, then we never actually get into the place where real change can naturally occur. If we treat our bodies with anger, and we are disappointed in ourselves for how we are, then we break the relationship with ourselves and the relationships with our body to such an extent that that destructive relationship is toxic and therefore creates yet more suffering within us. And so acceptance of what is the key to being able to settle into a softer relationship with ourselves and with our bodies. We can't know what our bodies are ready to let go of, what patterns, what habits, what destructive perceptions and ideas that we have that are compromising the integrity of our bodies. We can't really know what's ready to shift and what isn't. And we can't always tell what our reasons are for holding those patterns in place. If we're holding certain patterns in place that create ill health in us because we're trying to stay safe, then we're not going to easily let go of that pattern because we don't want to let go of feeling, we don't want to feel unsafe. We don't want to let go of feeling safe. And so these can be quite complex patterns within us. And because they're complex, we need to address them or come at them from a place of absolute love. We don't want to come at them with our anger and with our disappointment and with our shaming. Our bodies are as they are currently. Our physiological well-being is as it is. Now there will be stories, imprinted experiences of your life which are sitting in the various systems of your body, compromising your health. And some of those will be ready to shift already. And if you bring the energy in a very loving and supportive and soft and nourishing way, then even those parts that feel the need to hold on very tightly to those conditions, they will start to feel like it's okay to let go a little bit here and there, to release a little bit. And that's where the energy can start to come in, that soft, soft energy. It can't come in if we believe that we're broken and that we need fixing. Body doesn't like that at all. Body thinks it's doing an amazing job at keeping you alive. And the more we have gratitude for our bodies, for the amazing processes that they do every moment of every day, the more we have gratitude for that, then the more we support the homeostasis of our whole being. So we have to let go of this negative self-talk when it comes to the health of our bodies. If we constantly criticize our bodies for how they're showing up, and this can be, it's tricky. Because when you're suffering and when you're in pain and when you've had maladies that just keep stopping you from doing things, getting on with life, and you feel as if your body has betrayed you on some level, then it's hard to find peace with that. We can very easily get into patterns of self-criticizing. It's very clear that that's a natural step within this, to be angry, to criticize, to feel let down. But if we stay stuck in that pattern and that observation of self, and in that paradigm of perceiving ourselves as less than okay, perceiving ourselves as not being right, if we continue with that perception of ourselves, then we can't shift. We don't shift to the next level. And so it's a little bit of a trick, if you like. And we're full of tricks. We've kind of tricked ourselves into the state that we're in often. Usually with good intentions of trying to protect and trying to secure and trying to reassure and all of these various things. But what we can end up doing is backing ourselves into a corner where all we then do is have one health issue after another. It can become chronic. And so to begin to change those patterns, we have to begin to change our perception of ourselves. And that starts with self-acceptance. It starts with self-love. And it can be hard if you've been very sick. It can be hard if you're in pain. But it is a necessary part of the journey. It's not straightforward, okay? What is straightforward and what is very, very simple is the power of the softening of the overall system. Okay? And that's what we're here to do, to support that gentle, gentle softening. But if you want some bigger shifts that you can start noticing straight away, then start to notice the relationship with you that you have with yourself with regards to your health, with regards to your well-being, with regards to your own self-talk. Yeah. But we don't want at this stage, as you're bringing in grace and you're having your hands activated to start this process of self-healing, is what we don't want to do is to go into that process with the sense that there is something wrong that you need to discover, and in discovering it, you will be okay. Okay. The more evolved perception to ground, if you like, through your body is that you are in the process of awakening to a higher octave of intelligence, to a higher frequency of vibration, of physical well-being. And the stories, the information of an old paradigm, a paradigm that has held you within the constructs, the issues, the narrative of powerlessness and victim mentality, that has to soften and release, and you will become disentangled from those networks, from those grids of power that have maybe held you in a much more limited perspective up until this time. It's what we've known up until this point, okay? To evolve to that next higher frequency, we have to at least begin to accept that we can't carry on being the victim. We can't carry on being powerless. We can't carry on having destructive relationships with ourselves, criticizing ourselves, being angry at ourselves, disappointed in ourselves, shaming ourselves. How we will go on to have healthier relationships with others in our external reality, if you like, comes from our ability to be able to have a loving relationship with ourselves. change the patterns, to change the power plays, to shift from victim mentality and to become empowered, accepting of what is, accepting of what has been, and with an awareness that things are changing and that there is a new, more highly evolved intelligence supporting you to awaken mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. To access a new, more evolved way of being that supports flow, enabling information to pass through you without getting caught and stuck and held in pockets and packets in the systems of your body. Now remember, we're part of a collective network, so you're not alone in this. This is all of us. This is how our bodies have evolved to this point, if you like. And this is the bit that we have to now start to evolve beyond. We can't carry on holding our mental, emotional, energetic information in our physical bodies the way that we have. If animals go through trauma, they shake. You may have seen that. And then they're up, and then they get on with their day. They're okay. They haven't stored the imprints of it. They've released. We have gone through a long period of time as human beings of collecting and compounding data within these vortices, within these data storage systems. And now they're so compressed, there's so many files of information there that the systems of the body are now collectively compromised. And so firstly, we have to know that we can change that. But we can't change it by being in the same emotional states that have created it. We can't change it by being angry and resentful and bitter and shaming and criticizing, being the victim, being powerless. That doesn't change it. That just compounds it even more. So we need to bring in the higher vibrations. And an example of a higher vibration is that of acceptance. It's also forgiveness, self-love. There has been a huge amount of betrayal, and we hold that very heavily in our bodies. But we may feel as if our bodies have betrayed us when they've not worked in the way that we would like or we expect. And I think many people, particularly that have chronic conditions, find this very, very difficult. And self-betrayal can be huge, because you're not able to get on with your life in the way that you would wish to. And so there's a huge amount of loss there, a great deal of grief for all that loss and all that perceived loss. And that's very difficult. And so we have to have a place for that, to have compassion for that. Have compassion for yourself on this journey of transformation and for all that you've been through so far. It's been tragic for many of you. These stories, I call them stories and information, but for you it's your life. It's all the experiences that you've been through. And some of them have been very, very difficult, heartbreaking. But if you stay in that state, then you stay in the victimness, the powerlessness, the betrayal. And I know, because of my own journey and all the other people that I see through my work, I know that you're worth far more than that. And you know, though your self-worth may have been affected a huge amount by ongoing chronic health conditions, or the impact of whatever traumas have affected the systems of your body to bring this about in the first place. Particularly, some chronic conditions like things like ME and chronic fatigue and things, very much conditions of now and very, very difficult for people to deal with. They're always shifting and changing and moving around the body. And like the blood systems, they're everywhere. So one day it's here, one day it's there, and it's coming out in the skin. The next it's a headache, and my leg, or whatever the condition is for you. It can make people feel like they're a hypochondriac. It can make them feel as if they've gone mad. It can make them not want to talk about it anymore because it feels like that's all that they do, that's what their life is about. And so we have to have huge compassion for that, because these are very, very real conditions that are affecting life, the enjoyment of life, the actual joy that we're here to experience in our lives. But whatever the condition and however chronic it is, if we continue to perceive it as I'm broken, this is wrong, I have to fix it, or I can't fix it, or I need help, or there's no help, or these kind of patterns, these kind of perceptions, okay, then it stays locked in. Okay, so as we pour in grace, we start to soften these layers, soften gently, bring it in. Expand the space, bring in grace, soften the place. Then all of that sense of betrayal, self-betrayal, rejection of self, criticizing self, self-denial, self-persecution, self-rejection, all of that can start to gently be washed away. And we have to let that go, because we need to become self-empowered. And we do that through self-acceptance and self-love. And we can't begin to have a true and clear vibration of relationship with others and with our planet as a whole until we have a communication, relationship of love, self-love within ourselves as our inner dialogue on a day-to-day, moment-by-moment basis. It's the first relationship that has to be restored. It's the first healing that has to take place. And that all comes through compassion. Compassion for yourself, for what you've been through, and for those stories that are still held within, the experiences that you've had. And compassion is the key. It is compassion for yourself that will start to set you free. Have no doubt. And that's what hands-on healing can bring to you. Because you have to commit to being able to love yourself enough to give yourself that healing, to place your hands on yourself. So often we're not kind to ourselves. We treat ourselves like a problem, and we berate ourselves and we pick at ourselves. I meet so many pickers, they're on the inside of themselves, pick, criticizing, nagging, digging and picking all the time. scream at their beautiful self from the inside and from the outside. Is it any wonder there's dysfunction? It's no way to treat your beautiful self. So with just this very simple practice of self-love, we're going to start seeing some changes. Okay? Because you're worth it. You may not really know the depths of that yet. But if you pour in grace and work with these energies, then you will see your worth in a whole new way. And that's a beautiful thing. Okay, so we're going to do our first meditation today. If you'd like to do that. Okay, get yourselves comfortable. Take all the time you need. Take a moment just to breathe into this space. And if you haven't done so already, then this is the time to close your eyes and experience a powerful inner journey. Focus on your breathing. Breath moving gently in and out of your body, relaxing you. Breathing in relaxation, breathing out any tension. Moment to imagine that you're standing at the top of a beautiful winding wooden staircase, winding down and round, taking you to a very special place, a place where you can discover deeper, more empowered parts of yourself. The staircase has many steps, and you may like to count them in your mind as you go down. And as you count and breathe and count your way down, 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 you may find that you lose count of the steps altogether, and yet still discover that you're at the bottom of the staircase at exactly the right moment for you. This very special place reveals itself to you. A tranquil place of deep inner reflection and self-inquiry, where you're safe and where you matter. Enter this place and simply breathe. There within this space is a seat or chair of some kind. It is the kind of place and the kind of seat that if you designed this place yourself, then this really is exactly how you would have created it for your absolute comfort and relaxation. Imagine it now. Use all of your creative senses to bring it into being. This is your place of deep relaxation. An inner sanctuary. Soak in the vibes and let this wonderful space nourish you. This is a powerful, sacred space. And into this special place, you can invite allies to help you on your journey. These allies are awakened parts of yourself who know what you need to do and how you need to be to get the very most out of yourself and your life right now. Call them in. get a sense of their presence. These inner allies appear to you in a way which is right for you. They are energetic frequencies here to support you to evolve in a healthy and balanced way. These allies can help you get into the flow of your life and can give you sensory feedback, helping you to navigate changing times by following intuitive guidance with greater confidence. You can welcome these allies. Sense them in whatever way feels right to you. You can experience an integration of their presence. Sense their energetic signature. And experience a simple upgrade to your sensory system through a deeper and more conscious connection to them now, so that you can more easily sense their supporting influence in your day-to-day life. You can call in a specific ally, for example, the most compassionate part of yourself. This most compassionate part of yourself is always available and can support you to be more compassionate in your life. Maybe you need to have more compassion for yourself right now, or for others perhaps. Call in and meet this part or aspect of your evolving self, the compassionate you. Feel a deep connection. This connection can strengthen your overall system. Maybe you'll receive a message from this part of you. Or maybe you have something to say or to share. Take a moment to breathe into this space and experience an exchange of information, perhaps even just energetically. Whatever comes to you is perfect and right for you. You may wish to embrace your most compassionate self. You can thank this part of you for being there for you, and perhaps agree to call upon it whenever you need help in being more compassionate. You can ask this part to make you more aware of its gentle presence with grace and ease, especially when you might be overlooking the need to have more compassion and might otherwise be returning to old programs, running old programs, or being in a more limited perspective, having a limited perception. You could call this part in. And the more you sense the need for compassion, and the more regularly you call in this most compassionate part of yourself, this aspect to support you, then the more natural and effortless this becomes. It becomes a way of being. Embracing your most compassionate self. Being embraced. Acknowledge a deeper power and connection rising within you, See yourself easily and naturally opening energetically and receiving a higher vibration of information and guidance. A new phase of human evolution is upon us. You are learning to open and receive the higher guidance required to help you flow naturally and easily through these changing and sometimes challenging times. You're here as a vessel for grace, grace in action, propelling you forward into a new awakened way of being. A pioneer in a new awakened world. Breathe, and as you do, imagine grace pouring into your special place and into you, into every part of you, pouring into your sensory system, bringing you the upgrades that you now require. Breathe and sense the power you have to be part of a new, highly evolved network of light. A grid, an energetic matrix of supporting information that will guide the awakening process into being. Compassion is the key. Compassion for yourself. Compassion for others. Compassion will most certainly set you free. Take a few nice, easy breaths and begin to breathe together. You and your most compassionate self, breathing together as one. Breathe together, merge together, embracing each other. Know that this is you. You are a compassionate being. And true compassion starts with having compassion for yourself here and now. Breathe together, you and your most compassionate self. Breathe as one. When you feel ready, you can open your eyes. Take all the time you need. So more compassion for yourself. Start to notice that. The more energy of support that you bring in, the more you'll start to notice. And it's about noticing. You can start noticing the way you speak to yourself and the way you behave, in those quiet places within yourself. And as you notice, then you have the power to change. It's when it's all so unconscious, when we don't even recognize the patterns that we're in. It's very, very difficult. And so bringing in the energy helps to highlight things which can be uncomfortable, Sometimes we don't want to look. It's easier just to push it all away, pretend it's not happening, put on a brave face. It's a facade. It's meaningless. It doesn't get you anywhere. Doing the inner work, even though it can be quite ugly at times to face ourselves and to look at those more damaged places within us, it can be traumatic, it can be difficult, but my goodness, it's worth it. Because then there doesn't have to be a facade anymore. Then you really can show up in your authentic expression and be comfortable in your skin. And that's what it's about. Being who you are and being okay with that. You're not going to lose a connection to the experiences that you've had. The experiences that you've had have helped you to become who you are. They're very valuable in many ways. But what you don't want to be doing is continually reacting and responding in an emotionally charged way based on the fact that that information within you is still like a hot potato, really. And you come across it like, needs to be resolved. Cool enough to handle. So as your story becomes something that you can tell without all this emotional charge, because it's resolved. Yes, you've had these experiences, and yes, this is how it is, but you accept it now, and all the gifts that it's brought to you. And there are so many gifts. Sometimes we don't recognize the gifts when we're in the pain. Of course we don't. Pain is so all-encompassing like that. When I say pain, I don't just mean physical pain, I mean mental, emotional, spiritual. When we're in that, when we get locked into that place, it's dark and it's difficult. It's very, very challenging. And interestingly, when we're in that place, it's very hard to find the light. Very hard. And that's why a practice like this, where you can access the light and pour the light in at any given time, can help to soften all of those dark places. Open them up from their restricted, confined, and contorted places of trauma. And instead of it all just being a tight knot, a tightly held ball of compressed energy, gently it starts to unravel bit by bit. And the beautiful thing about it as well is that the more space you give it, the more able to unravel and release. If you do that thing where you pick, it just gets tighter. Yeah. Pick. Ooh, because you feel under threat by that. And most of the conditions, most of the imbalance, most of the challenges we have are because we have been threatened, or we've perceived we've been under threat. We're carrying historic patterns of having been threatened, or that there are threats in our environment, and sometimes that can just be the toxicity of our environment. But the more that we perceive ourselves as being threatened, the more we close down. We can't open up to new information and new energy when we're under attack or under threat. Yet, a lot of the time, we're under attack and under threat by ourselves, from ourselves, with our critical self, picker, that you're not good enough, you haven't done well enough. You know, it's probably the parent or the teacher or whatever it is, the old dialogue that's still running in the background of your mind. But whilst there's that attack or perceived attack, then that space that's required for true transformation to occur, that space isn't available. So it's all about the space, okay? Bringing grace, create the space, and everything will gently unravel in its own time. You have to trust that. And you'll observe that in your own way. Yeah, and then you'll start to trust it more. Okay. So we're going to do our activation for today. So when you're ready, you may remember that you place your hands together like this, and then when you feel ready, you place them out to receive the activation into your palms. And then when you feel ready again, you can close them and you can bring them to your heart. Okay. As I said before, you can't really do it wrong. The activation is coming in to you anyway. Okay. It's nice to get a sense of really receiving it. Okay, so when you feel ready, you can close your eyes. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, take all the time you need. You may find, as I do myself, that massaging the vortices, the center of the palms when you've had an activation feels really nice. It's those energies really working. I find myself just pressing on them a little bit. So you may find yourself doing that. Okay. I'll take you through the hand positions in a few moments. So you'll be doing a 21-day self-healing process at the end of this. 21 days dedicated to your own self-love and to enable the healing energies to flow through you and for you to get a sense of how they work with you. Like I say, everyone is unique, and the information stored within the energy centers of your body, they're unique to you. Okay, so there are kind of flavors, if you like, within the different energy centers, but please don't get too attached to that, because it's a unique journey. And rather than having a set idea of what's going on, or what you need to see in each area, or what should be there or shouldn't be there, yeah, just let it be whatever it is. Okay, you may not get a sense of any particular information. You may, and this can be the experience of a lot of people, you may just get a sense of warmth moving through you when you start doing self-healing. You may just get a sense of feeling relaxed. And it may be that it's not within that hour session that the work is being done, that it may be later and at other times that something happens and you notice that you've made changes, or that changes come in a different way. It may be that as the energy softens you, different opportunities come to you that may not have come otherwise. It may be a conversation that you have with someone. It may be that you're guided to, read a book or go to a certain place. Whatever is intuitively guided for you is all part of this journey of awakening. And so embrace it all. Embrace it all. In the hand positions, I'm going to talk about some of the things that you can come across within those various centers of the body, energy centers of the body, these storage systems of information. But it's by no way limited to that. So don't hang on my words, okay? It's just a little bit of a frame of reference to give you some ideas, and it may help to trigger things for you, which is my reason for doing that, so as you can have your little aha moments that are right for you. If you don't take any of this information on and you just work as I've suggested by just putting your hands in the various positions that I'm showing you, and you just relax into that each session, that is absolutely perfect and right. Okay, there's no right or wrong way of doing this. Some of you that are tuning in haven't done any kind of healing before at all, and some of you are master practitioners. And so there's information here for everyone, depending on where you're at on your journey. And just because someone has been doing something longer than another doesn't make them better at it, because it isn't a competitive thing when you come to working on your own inner realms. Okay, there's no end result. Okay, there's no real goal in mind. There is a clearer, more authentic place of being that's right for you, so that you are in tune with you. Okay, and how you get there, there's so many different ways of getting there. And if you attune more to these higher vibrations and to your own inner navigation system, your own intuition, you will find the way that's right for you. And that will support you in all areas of your life. Okay? So trust that. Trust that. Okay, I'm going to take you through the hand positions now. Bringing your hands into that prayer position, bringing those energy centers activated now in the palms of your hands. Bring them together in front of your heart. And just have a moment of gratitude for yourself, for the journey, for the process that you're in. And for the courage to look at all this stuff within and let go of what you don't want with grace and with ease, and bring in more of what you do want with grace and with ease. You can move to position 1, the top of your shoulders. Wow, the shoulders, they can carry so much. You can be carrying stuff for other people. This can be about feeling overwhelmed. It can sometimes be about opening to greater support after being overburdened. Sometimes people close down when it all gets too much. And this connects to the arms and the heart. So anything that you do that helps you to open up, reaching out. When you take those deep breaths, you move your arms up into the air, reach to the skies, that kind of thing. Yeah, and let grace pour through you, to your arms and to your shoulders. Start releasing any stuck energy there. And so as you hold your palms on the top of your shoulders, you might want to consider how you can find more ways in your life to stretch, to move, to dance, to expand and open your body. Open your body to a greater flow, to free yourself, to move uninhibited. Moving the energy from the top of your shoulders will support you to do that. And so we can move to the back of your head. Again, balancing the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. And this is about balancing and creating a better connection to the crown, to the top of your head, to your overall connection through the crown, which we're not looking at specifically now in this session. But know that by having your head held in your hands like this, you're supporting that connection. You're helping your brain and your spinal cord attune and assimilate these higher energies. And this can bring up any issues that there may have been, if there's been any kind of forced religion or blind obedience, misinformation, lies, information withheld. Anything that has stopped you from connecting to your own kind of awakened beliefs, then that may start to be stirred in the back of your head, supporting you to have greater faith in yourself, faith in your connection, in your consciousness, greater hope. And this is the place of quests and questions, the why am I here, what's my purpose, the truth, all that kind of thing. A lot of people are searching for a deeper meaning. This, of course, the back of your head here, it still connects round to your ears and your eyes and your heart, and you'll do different positions for those. But as you're holding onto the back of your head, just letting the energy flow there, you're also activating the energy of your inner ear, your visualizing sense, your open-heartedness, to get a clearer connection to source, to the divine, to the universal intelligence, whatever you wish to call it. And we're learning to listen more clearly and to respond. Otherwise, if we ask questions and then we don't respond with our actions, then we can get anxious and depressed. So this is about helping the energies of those higher octaves of ourselves to flow and become more grounded physically. More awareness of that spiritual connection, the healing disciplines, whether that's through meditation or however you wish to examine your belief systems and do the inner work that we're all here to do. So you can just allow the energies in the back of your head to support that as they flow and swirl around. And similarly now, as you move to your brow, to your eyes, to your temples. So again, it's about clearing that inner sight, to have good sight, good intuition, strong imagination. If there's been any trauma to this area, then this will start to soften that. If you've been in terror or frightening situations, environment where there's been a lot of violence or war even, sometimes even things that you see, on TV or whatever that stay with you, haunt you, we can all stay in this area. And so if it invalidates your intuition in some way and kind of scrambles you, so as you lose trust in yourself or others, lose trust in your sensory system, then just bringing the energy into here will just help you to have better discernment on what you want to let in and what you don't. Help you to get clearer insights, more intuitive awareness, seeing beyond the norm and maybe into the bigger picture, for example, clearer perspectives. Meditation can support this, visualization. And be more creative. This is about accessing a more creative you and finding ways to express that. And through this energy center, you can also explore the memory imprints, dream work, do quests and guided visualization to explore the holographic nature of reality. It's a big one. So multi-dimensional, all of this work, and again, you don't have to know all of this. You're just softening these areas so as they can start working with you, the energies can start working with you in a way that works for you. That opens you up to yourself, your greater self, greater awareness of the interconnectedness of all things. And so you can bring your hands, your palms to your ears, hearing truth. If there's any interference there, if there's been discord, stuff that blocks your inner ear. And your ears, and you can move as well down to your throat, your jaw area. Because your ears and your jaw and your throat, it's all about communication. So if there's been trauma in those areas, then, if you've been lied to, if there's been secrets withheld from you, or you've been made to withhold information, hold secrets, or if there was a lot of yelling, particularly if you were a child, or verbal abuse, or maybe just lots of criticism, that can block this area. Very authoritarian parent, for example. And sometimes it can be because of being in an alcoholic or chemically dependent family. And so that can all influence that communication, energy, relationship and flow. Start to recognize your strengths. And have more conscious self-control and discipline over your own life according to your own truth. And that every thought and every action can either be a potential of grace or a potential as a weapon. Words can be used as weapons, as we know, and thoughts. And so this starts to stir that. What are you going to use your voice for? What are you going to listen to? Are you in charge of you and your life and how you hear things? And what you share? Are you communicating honestly? Do you know how to do that? Would you like to open up more to that? You can explore all kinds of things like automatic writing and practice a higher level of communication and connection with others. Maybe spend time in silence. And simple storytelling and singing and chanting and toning, releasing your voice. Get your neck and shoulders all loose. That all helps to support the energy flow in this area. And just let that come to you in whatever way is right for you. Position number 6, your heart. Giving, receiving love. Couldn't be simpler, surely. Of course, there's trauma in the heart for many people. The rejection, the abandonment, loss. It's been huge loss. The shaming, particularly as a child, criticism, any abuse that's occurred in the lower energy centers of the body, whether sexual, physical abuse, betrayal, whatever, that will all show in the heart as well. The heart is where we heal it. Grief is huge here. Death, divorce, it's all loss, isn't it? Loss of all kinds. Being in a loveless environment. Having love as a conditional thing. And so it's about learning to practice compassion and learning the true value of forgiveness learning what unconditional love really feels like, allowing that to flow, for grace to be with you. There's such self-discovery here as you open your heart. The opportunity to forgive, to integrate inner child aspects. It's an opportunity to give the little parts of you that may have been damaged, to give them a lot of love. Bring them all into your heart. These are the kind of things that might be stirred by bringing energies through this hand position. And again, don't get attached to any of this. Just information, just if it resonates with you. Some will, some won't. Just let it be what it is. Okay, and then we can move to the next position, the solar plexus. Position number 7, your personal power, your will. So if there's trauma in this area, there's shaming, authoritarianism. Again, there can be physical abuse. There can be fear of punishment. There can have been punishment, there can have been dangerous environments. Sometimes it's to do with age-inappropriate responsibilities as well. Having to grow up too soon, maybe take care of your parents, be their parent. Or maybe you inherited shame from your parents. We can be born with shame already in us. Especially if a mother was shamed whilst you were in vitro. Maybe she was young or not married or whatever the circumstances are. And that can mean that you were born with the energy of shame already in your energy system. And so again, we don't have to analyze any of this, but these energies are coming in to soften any of the stories that are held within you. And as this part of you starts to heal and the positive energies come in, then you can learn to take risks and be more grounded and have more emotional contact that you feel is kind of deeper and more reassuring. Minimizes stress in all those encounters with others. You can move to your sacral, position number 8. Now this is about emotional balance, sexuality, procreation. And again, with this energy center, if there's been any sexual abuse or emotional abuse, neglect, rejection, emotional manipulation, physical abuse. Again, this can show up as blocked or distressed or uncomfortable or dysfunctional and tricky in this energy center. If you were in an alcoholic family, for example, if your feelings were denied you as a child, if there were any issues of incest, any sexual issues really, they can all show up here. It can really help to, once you start working with the energy of this energy center, you may find yourself wanting to move more, dance more, have some physical exercise, and that will help to release some of the stuckness as it starts to soften. And your inner child will really enjoy this, and that's really part of the releasing, part of the letting go of all that energy that's been held in, and find ways to connect to your inner child and process all of the stories here gently, with compassion, with grace. Boundary work can be really useful in this area, so as you can work out what healthy pleasure is for you and experience it. Okay, position number 9, the base, the root, survival, physical needs, tribal associations. I'm going to be doing a lot more work on this particular area in some of the other sessions. I don't know if it will be of this series or other sessions, I'm not sure, but it's a very big area that we all need to work on as we begin to ground ourselves to the new Earth grid. Okay, and I can share a lot more with you about that, but for now we can look at this as being the place where birth trauma is held, where there can be issues about abandonment, physical neglect, poor boundaries, difficulties with mother energy, maybe neglected or malnourished on some level, maybe there were feeding difficulties, major illness and surgery can often, the trauma of that can be held here, physical abuse. But there's also inherited cultural and collective trauma here, things like war and poverty, and a lot of the big traumas that are collectively holding us out of balance with our natural world. And so that's why this is a whole area that we do need to explore. But just to touch on that now, and this is really about how you manage your physical world, which some people manage really well, other people not so well, depending on the trauma held, depending on the associations here, depending on the stories that have been written in this database of the base energy center. And there's a huge amount of data here, and this is important data. I mean, it's all important. Every energy center has important data, but as we ground ourselves in a new way through this evolutionary shift that we're going through, then this grounding to the new Earth grid can take place only through processing a lot of the old collective and ancestral tribal influences. And so, yeah, just connecting to that base, to that survival aspect of you. And there can have been a lot of trauma and issues around survival for us, but also throughout our family history. And it's all held as memory data here. A regular connection to walk barefoot can be really helpful. Grounding techniques, things like that. But what's important is a connection to the Mother Earth, regardless of the relationship with your own mother, and that can be processed here as the energy comes in and starts to soften any of the resistance, any of the stories. But you can be held, no matter what the stories are, you can be held by the gravitational embrace of Mother Earth and process whatever needs to be processed here. And so you can move down to your knees, whether again you do a hand on each knee, or like I'm doing, the hand on the top of the knee and then the back of the knee, and then the hand on the top of the other knee and the back of the other knee. This is all about surrender, going with the flow, being grounded, working through any feelings of being uprooted or disconnected, not fitting in, not having a tribe, not having anywhere to go, feeling outcast, feeling alienated, feeling like you came from another planet, things like that. And there's a lot of information held within these lower aspects of the base, the knees and the feet that we'll need to work on some more, potentially in another series, as it's quite a chunk of information, and I can guide you through it there. But for now, we can move to our feet, position number 12. And again, you can either do palms on the top of both your feet at once, and then put your palms underneath your feet, both feet at once. Or you can do what I'm doing and have your hand on the top of your foot, hand underneath your foot, and then do the other foot. Really doesn't matter. Just see what works for you and in your position where you're sitting or lying or whatever. Again, this is about grounding. This is where the energy enters the earth grid and returns to source. This is a powerful place. If it's not open and active here, then you can become very tired and irritable and unreasonable, really out of sorts, really wondering what the point is. It can get too much. Life can just feel too much without good grounding here. And there's a lot of people that haven't got these feet vortices activated fully. And so the energy really does get blocked here, very stagnant. And so getting this energy moving, becoming more able to, becoming more tolerant of yourself and others and what's going on, and more rooted in the truth of who you are. And this is huge, really, really huge. It's probably one of the most important things, actually. But it's an ongoing journey, so don't get too lost in it just now. Just know that that's the purpose of the feet vortices, in helping you to make a better connection through the truth of who you are to the new earth grid, to activate a greater sense of wisdom and knowledge and information stream, so as you can walk in a more purposeful, guided way, to be in the flow and interconnected and alive, really, really alive. So 14, position 14, back of your base. Again, you're beaming energy into the back of your base, down between your legs. We'll just come up through these now. The back of your sacral, working on the same things as we've mentioned before, for the front of the sacral. Same with the solar plexus, just different angles on it really. And the back of the heart, give yourself that lovely hug, self-hug, self-love. And then last position, position 18, just bring your arms round to the front, cross them over, just in front of your collarbone, the clavicle. And these are your wings of grace. Powerful position. I'll share with you more about that later. And then your closing prayer, whatever feels right, just take a moment, bring those palms together at the front, just in front of your heart. And take a moment just to say thanks for all of the energy flowing through you. And just ask that that energy continues to flow through you, opening you up to greater guidance, a more connected way of being, to become more grounded, more open, and more able to be your true, beautiful self. And to soften all that you're not, until it dissolves into the nothingness. And you become one with the everythingness. Okay, great. A little bit more information there. Just take from that whatever's right for you. Yeah. And so in our next session, We'll be looking at getting more into the flow, how we can sense ourselves being out of balance, coming into a more intuitive, aligned, authentic way of being, that kind of thing. It's going to be great. We're going to be doing the next attunement activation, so that's quite exciting. I'll go through the hand positions some more, give you a little bit more information about those, and take really good care of your beautiful self. You've got a lot of information coming in, information that I'm sharing with you, but also energetically. Okay, it's a huge amount coming in right now. If you have any questions or comments, things you'd like to share, then do that on the comments on the YouTube channel. I always love to hear from you, and I know you like to hear each other's experiences as well. And so that will be great. Make sure you take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next session.